We are officially recording.
They use it instead of taking their own notes.
I know, right? Okay, so it is you guys, Astra Hadassah. You both are woken up or disturbed from your meditations, respectfully. Each of you are being contacted independently by handyman and instructed to meet him in the med bay for an examination as ordered by Master Theltanus. You are given independent times of when to.
Okay.
I mean, don't beat a storm path to the door there. I assume you both are going at your appointed time.
Yeah.
Okay. Hodge.
Uh, yes, she'll get cleaned up first. But yeah.
Okay. So, Hodge, as you walk out your room, there is a Durro Theltanus sitting near your door, meditating, waiting for you. Durro, you are not surprised she has exited.
Well, if that's the case, he is not sitting, he's standing when he heard her coming.
Okay.
Well, good morning. Are you well rested?
She doesn't say anything. She just walks up to him and puts her arms around him and melts onto his chest. I
He
am.
holds her and just lets her be there.
Have you been sitting here all night?
Oh, probably a good portion of it. I wanted to make sure that you were all right.
I'm definitely more clear-headed than I was when I went down.
Well, that's good.
I am. I'm sorry.
But give a slight smile and say, it's not your fault. I've seen this kind of thing before.
Have you?
During the Clone Wars, soldiers that get overwhelmed. It happens. The only thing you can do really is to just let it pass and to make sure you're there for them when they come around.
She looks up at him. I don't have any reason to have been overwhelmed, though. There's nothing of that level of stress going on right now.
The funny thing about stress is it's very different for every individual. I can't claim that what's stressful for you would be stressful for me, but the things that are stressful for me may not be for you. It's highly individual, but something clearly made you stressed.
Honestly, and if I'm candid about it, it was Astra.
And
Although,
that's possible. It's definitely something that we will all have to work through as a group. I'll be honest, I'm still not entirely sure what happened. But, and he'll give a slight smile, that is what I'm hoping that a good long conversation will solve.
I don't think it was just her.
What do you mean?
I mean, brought it to her attention so she knows at least part of the story. There was vision in I went to get some tea and some food, and she called it a vision. Part of it was visual and distressing for reasons I'll suss out later, but and I didn't tell her this, and she pressed hard. Part of it was a conversation between her and Tesara that fed into her teasing that she's been doing incessantly since you've been gone. And I
What
don't know where
kind of
those visions
teasing?
came from or why.
What kind of teasing?
All kinds of teasing. She won't let go of the poisoning. She keeps bringing it up. She derided me for pushing myself too far and said that it needed to be a lesson for me. It mocking, hurtful. She just nothing I did was above reproach or worse, something that when she got the bit in her teeth, that stubborn nature of hers, I'm sure she felt the whole thing was a joke. But even when I brought it to her attention that it was hurtful, she continued. And I will admit, my pride got the better of me on more than one occasion. And part of that was holding that silence. But when I heard her and Tesara talking, I don't, the only saving grace in that was that I don't believe Tesara would have had that conversation with Astra. I believe that she would have come and had it to my face. She would have talked to me before she talked behind my back. But it was it was specific, Durro. She brought up very specific instances of my failings and my shortcomings. And when I asked what I thought was an innocent question about these visions, whether they could see forward and backward into the past, she latched onto the forward portion of it and would not let go. And it reinforced everything. And then I saw her go for the blaster.
Yes, I'm still not sure what exactly happened, I want to say, in her head, as well as yours. It seems like both of you overreacted to certain stimulus, certain events. But all I can do is observe the security recordings. I'm not inside either of your heads.
I can tell you who's inside her head. She told me.
Yes, soul, she mentioned.
I don't know that either one of
And
us was getting
he would
a
give her
ahead.
he would also have given her a slight grin and said, "And I heard it on the recording too."
I have to watch those recordings when I'm done with Handyman. I there were noises, there were sounds, there were shadows that weren't in my mind. There was something else here. thought it was Astra. I thought I was convinced.
And
I'm
realistically, there might have been these security systems. It's technology, and there are certain things in the Force primarily that technology cannot detect. It's why what we do is so difficult for those who cannot to understand, just because it is almost impossible to quantify scientifically, measure with technology.
It's not the
I'm,
Force that scares me, Durro.
then what does?
Melora's proven she can get on this ship without anyone noticing.
Well, it's not like she's boarding from the outside.
True enough. I guess that's my only saving grace right now.
Well, I was the one that asked Handyman to do a, a medical evaluation of both you and Astra. I'm still confused as to what happened with time aboard this ship. The girls and I definitely didn't experience as much time as you two did. I want to make sure there were no other adverse physical effects.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Time and the flowing thereof is outside my area of expertise.
You'll forgive me. I know you said you'd only be gone a few hours, but you were gone for several days. I figured you got hung up. Do you mean time?
I'm sorry, I thought I had said something to you. No, the when I got back aboard the ship, from my perspective, what the girls and I experienced out in the village, we had only been gone for the morning. It was just afternoon. But when I was reviewing the security footage, I saw that it had been an entire day. That when we boarded the ship, for you guys, it was almost midnight.
Oh.
That was one
Oh.
reason I encouraged you to get some rest. I could tell you were exhausted. From your perspective, it had been the entire day. But that wasn't what it was for the girls and I.
Oh.
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure there were no adverse physical effects to or from whatever happened to the ship, which is why I asked Handyman to do a medical analysis of both you and Astra, as well as run a ship-wide diagnostic on the Gugnir's systems.
Well, I suppose. Did you get any indication of what might have been causing something like that?
From what Handyman was able to find and tell me, it seems it was, well, has a normal scientific explanation. This star system exists inside a perimeter of black holes, and as you've seen, has four stars that I'm not sure if they orbit the planet or the planet orbits them. It's a little confusing. The star chart doesn't do it justice. Suffice to say, gravity wreaks havoc on this system, and as I learned in my education, gravity, varying strengths of it, do affect how we perceive the flow of time.
Hmm.
Handyman
Handyman do what?
Handyman did warn that if we stay here too long, we will experience a significant passage of time which will not exist outside this star system. Hours or days may pass for them where it's weeks or months for us. So the longer we stay, from the perspective of the outside galaxy, the faster we age. So I would like to leave this planet within the next day or two.
For no other reason than to keep the professor from turning to a pile of dust.
Indeed,
Speaking of which, I owe him an apology. I did some redecorating, unfortunately.
Yes, well, you'll have to wait a little while to. You will have to wait a little while to offer said apology. He has decided to shut himself away in his study, cut himself off for everybody. Says he has a lot to think about. I received a recorded message from him when I was checking the ship's security systems.
He's
He's
gone
asked
to
that we respect his
seclusion.
privacy, even more so than normal lately. He's asked that we respect his privacy. He gave me the access I need to run the ship in his absence. I am essentially the Gungnir's captain.
She looks up at him with a bright smile. Congratulations, it's now official.
Yes, I suppose it is.
She gives him a big kiss. Wait, does that mean... Oh dear. You can see like a little impish grin cross her face. You're gonna be too
What are
busy.
you thinking?
I'm thinking that as an insubordinate, that any sort of fraternizing may be, what's the word I'm looking for? Inappropriate. And she gives him a wink.
Oh, I'm the captain. I think I am the one that determines what is and is not an inappropriate amount of fraternization.
She actually gets a bright, honest laugh out of her, and she pulls him tight.
And he will hold her as well until they get to the med bay.
Okay. So upon arrival at the predetermined location where where handyman has instructed you to be, um, the med bay opens up, and Hadaza, you look into the examination room and you see Astra sitting there.
She pulls a little tighter to Durro, and not it's a subtle step in. Um, Nods at Astra. Highness?
Haj, are you feeling better? Are you all right?
I am better, thank you. And you?
I'm okay. I'm really sorry everything got out of hand the way it did.
I owe you an apology as well, Highness.
You didn't do anything.
I did, and there is evidence of it. And
And
moreover, it is what I thought that I owe you the apology for.
Astra looks genuinely confused, but nods.
All right.
Hudge falls silent.
Handyman will walk in. Ah, ladies, if you'll please have a seat at the examination table.
As in, wait. Hudge will walk in, and before she does, she leans over and she gives Durro another hug before she goes in to sit down. Puts her hand on his cheek.
It's just an examination. You're not crossing the valley of death. Please be seated.
shoots daggers at that miserable fucking.
How can you hate a droid that sounds like David Tennant, presumably?
Astra will look over at Hadassah and go, I hate medical examinations too. They scare me.
It's not the medical examination.
Is
She'll
it
take a seat at the
handyman?
table.
And
Is it
he'll walk
handyman?
over to a cabinet and open it up and pull out two pieces of cloth and walk up to each and hand you both folded up pieces of cloth and says, "If you will please change into these for the examination."
She gives that piece of fabric the hairy eyeball.
Come now,
Shoots it at.
have things to do.
He snatches it off his hand and proceeds to strip down and get changed right there.
It takes Astra a minute before she complies.
We've recently discovered that the ship and crew have been experiencing issues with gravity. And we have decided that it is possible that you may have felt these effects of gravity, extreme gravity. And he walks over and picks up a box and walks the box over to y'all and opens the box and pulls out two injectors. If you would be so kind, these carry a set of it carries a set of material that we can track during the patient so that we can identify exactly how exposed to.
They have what? And say that again, please, handyman.
This carries a set of radioactive isotopes that we can track in your system so that we can identify exactly what your body has been exposed to in terms of the extreme gravity that the ship has been exposed to.
What did these radioactive isotopes determine about the ship?
Nothing about the ship, but determines a great deal about you. Would you care to go into the discussion about this? I find that a patient that knows as much as possible is the most informed and most cooperative.
She looks over at Astra. She's apparently panicked.
Now, ladies, we're not children. Though, if it would help you, I'm sure I can go fetch a couple of children to hold your hand.
You're not cute.
Astra, I'll go first. She puts her arm out.
The injector is self operation. All you have to do is merely put the injector to your necks and press this little button.
She'll take the injector from him and place the plunger up to her neck, or place the device up to her neck and press the plunger.
And for you, princess, he says, holding a separate one for Astra.
Since when did you start calling me that?
Well, I figured it'd be appropriate bedside manner.
Now, out of character, is her injector presented on a little pillow?
No.
Well, good job. You broke the player.
Hey, what do you mean, good job? It's not that hard.
I was going to say feathers would break the player, so there's that.
Okay,
Come
I'm good.
now. A big girl.
Astra, look at Hadaza for a minute.
You want me to do it, Highness? Do you trust me?
She'll nod
She'll
for
look
her
at that
agreement.
bucket of bolts and put out her hand to take the other injector.
He'll hand it to her.
She puts out the empty hand to Astra for her to hold.
Astra will take Hadaza's hand. She's gonna close her eyes.
She puts the injector up to her neck. Do you want me to count, or do you want me to just do it?
Just get it over with, please.
Squeeze my hand,
And she does.
and she presses the plunger.
Okay. Now, if you'll please return to your examination table, you might feel a little dizziness. It is normal.
Dizzy, why didn't you tell us that beforehand?
Because we didn't ask.
Thank you.
Are there sedative properties in this?
Of course. I can't have you bouncing off the walls or trying to kill each other while examination. That'd be counterproductive to ensuring that you have a long, prosperous life.
Astra goes pale.
And Hadaza looks over at Durro.
And he continues,
Durro is exuding a sense of calm in the force.
and he is continuing with the examination. I have to admit, I'm surprised that both of you are still mentally okay, considering how much time has been warped around the Gungir.
What do you mean, handyman?
Well, time psychosis is a real thing. Even though there's only been a handful of throughout the galaxy.
Time what?
Psychosis.
Y- Okay, I got the words. What does it mean?
Psychosis. Ah, well. Give me 1 second, and I will be more than happy to tell you what the word psychosis.
Not the time psychosis. What are the symptoms of it?
Um, hearing, seeing things that are not in step with your time. Um, perceived actions that have not yet or have already happened.
That just sounds like visions. You know, like far seeing.
Well, there are those who believe that being force sensitive is a treatable condition. In fact, I was reading the work of a prominent physician back on Baklid who was studying the possibilities of curing somebody of their connection to force.
Connection to the force isn't an illness.
A person who suffers from psychosis would say the same thing.
Astra will look at Duro with this look of help.
How long does one have to be exposed to warps in the time stream and excessive or negative gravity in order to experience time psychosis?
It's a good question. My intention is to further subjugate you to the warps of the time space fabrics to how long it takes for the psychosis to set in again. Or for the first time, depending on whether or not you suffered from it.
And these radioactive isotopes will be able to determine whether or not we were suffering from time psychosis?
Theoretically.
Yeah, I don't agree to take part in this experiment. Thank you.
Well, you should have said that. You took the radioactive.
That doesn't mean I have to do anything you tell me to.
Of course not. By the way, both of you roll fortitude.
Uh, there's 15.
23.
Okay. You are starting to feel a little drowsy.
And somebody's playing a lullaby.
Sorry, my mother called.
I mean, if that was not on purpose, that was perfectly timed.
I know, right? Oh, like Michael found a way to play with the audio. That's awesome.
Mike's out over here having issues with his web browser.
Bugger that.
Yeah.
Now, that was perfectly timed.
Handyman being snarky but not, but snarky but not.
Handyman,
Yes.
how high was... You said there was fuck. You said there was a sedative in that? And Astro put her hand to her head because she's a little confused.
Well, no. Hodge asked if there were sedative properties.
Right. How strong?
Oh, fairly strong.
Wonderful.
It's not like you had any plans to do anything today or for the next few.
Actually, Handyman, I did. Few
No.
days. Wait a minute. Wait. Few days. How long are we going to be out?
Well, I mean, that all depends on a great deal of biologics. Of course, Hadassah, yours much more resilient Princess Astra. But I mean, we had to change the dosage and move different properties around to compensate. If I have created a successful combination.
So, Astra's was, if you'll pardon the expression, a standard recipe and you had to tweak mine and you hope you got it right?
Theoretically.
How?
Master.
Astra.
What the heck did you tell Handyman to do?
I asked him to give you a medical examination. I did not specify what he should do, just that it should be a thorough medical examination. I am not a medical professional. I cannot claim to know what he is trying to do. I feel like he outlined it well for you, though. He is trying to determine the effects of this gravitational anomaly on you and on the ship.
Fortitude check.
I think the door coming off the hinges was a fairly sure indicator of what this is doing, at least to me.
Well, it's definitely an indicator that one of you
19.
23.
26 is what you got.
26 is what I got?
Yeah.
Mer. Okay.
both of you are starting to get drowsy. Feel tingling in your toes.
Did you add the sedative because you believe that one or both of us is dangerous? Or is that actually part of the necessary testing? that Durro ordered.
Well, I can truthfully say that both answers are no.
Both answers? She shakes her head just a little. Once you actually get us out, we're currently sitting at this table. Plan on carrying us off to our little sleeping pods? Are we going to wake up in our own beds or strapped to a table or worse?
Well, I mean, it is for science.
I will make sure that neither of you are dissected by a handyman while you sleep.
I was just about to say,
That's
handyman has a habit of for science, meaning get thee under my blade.
I mean, both of them could serve to be very interesting scientific discoveries, each in their own unique ways.
Yes, well, in signing the professor's crew agreement, they've already given their bodies to science.
Exactly.
So you'll have your chance, just not right now.
Disappointing. But you're the captain.
Hadaza actually tries to stand up.
Handyman will be there to catch you. I need a dexterity check.
Nope. She fell right the fuck over. Excuse my language.
She went to get up and her legs just weren't having it and fell right in Handyman's hands. Ah, now. I have you. Up, back on the table. And he'll lay you down, and it's really, your arms are super heavy. It's like somebody tied weights to them.
How long?
How long what?
And you can see her trying to form the words, like her mouth wants to work.
And he'll turn and move over to Astra and help lay her down. And Astra, again, your arms are getting really heavy. Both of you, fortitude check.
The dice gods hate me now.
23.
I can't see what anybody rolled because I'm having internet.
Oh, I rolled a 1 with my bonuses. It went up to 8.
Okay, so Hodge comes to unconsciousness. Astra, you're still hanging on, but it aside from like moving your head left or right or your eyes, you can't move your body. How very fascinating. I expected Princess Kore to be the one to first succumb. Maybe hers should have been a little bit more as well.
Reverse it.
Astra, do you trust Handyman to do the medical examination?
No.
Why not?
And she tries to look at Durro and just this absolutely terrified look on her face.
And he is still exuding calm and tranquility in the Force.
With all due
And
respect,
I
Princess
can't
Kore,
explain it.
with all due respect, Princess Kore, whether you trust me or not is irrelevant. And he reaches up and gently closes your eyes. Last thing you remember as you slip this floor.
She's not gonna be so peaceful when she wakes up. Just saying.
Shall I have them transported?
Yes, please.
Of course.
You sure chose the slowest sedative you possibly could have.
Well, you're lucky that I chose the one I did. It is possible that any of the other ones could have had a much more, especially with Haj. Then again, Princess Kore's resilience was surprising. Would like at some point much more deeper examination in neural path, nervous.
Well, for that you will have to have her permission, which after this I don't think she'll give you.
Technically, I don't need her permission anymore. And four little arms pop out with little like scalpel.
Well, unless you can do that and transport them at the same time, I think you should get a move on.
Of course, and the arms retract back in. Pulls out a couple of hover or repulsor gurneys, and prepares the subjects for transport. Sets them up in there. They'll have a class 2 isolation field around, sure that they don't get jostled, or will they get hurt in transit.
And will they remain in this transportable state?
They should be under for several days. Have plenty of time to. When you are ready, awaken them. He'll reach into the box and pull out the third injector. Simply use this one dose, no more. And in a couple of hours, they should awake as.
Fantastic. Thank you, Handyman. And is my shuttle fully operational?
Yes, and so is your pilot.
Ah, Cherry is coming with.
Well, unless you don't want her.
Hmm, I was told to come alone, but the flying experience will be good for her.
Indeed.
All right, well, I will depart immediately. Thank you.
Yeah, to assist me. Go to the hangar.
Of course, and he will help.
Yeah, and push both hover gurney to the shuttle, which is waiting outside. Load up the shuttle. I will keep the rest of the girls occupied. Take trips away from the ship to make sure that need we don't have any.
That's probably a good idea.
The
You
mo-
could probably even take them back to the village. I believe Tesara is still there.
it's been several hours. Wait before we act.
Well, I leave it to your judgment.
Thank you, sir. By the way, just to let you know, I did. Professor's shuttle is not aboard the gun.
Oh, it is not. Where is it?
Violates certain protocols.
All right, fair enough. Just so we don't leave without him, unless he wants to be left.
Be a decision.
Indeed, and he will nod.
Safe travels.
Thank you, and good luck with the girls.
And with you on your journey.
And Durro will board his shuttle.
Okay. Jerry's in the pilot seat.
So, are you excited to take your first, well, not first flight, but probably your longest flight so far?
Without Tanis, I'm a Jedi Padawan. We don't experience excitement, says, trying to control her glee.
Durro will raise an eyebrow in an exaggerated manner. A Jedi Padawan, is there something I should know about?
Train us. Did homework, and an official trainee of a Jedi Master is, by all rights, a Jedi Padawan.
Well, that is a discussion and some finer points we will have to have later. But for now, it's flying lessons.
She turns and looks at you like an expected.
Out of character, are they in the cockpit or are they still in the or are they in the cargo area?
Cockpit.
Well, you're in the pilot seat, I'm in the navigator seat, so take off.
Um, excuse me, Master Lieutenant. My first time in a pilot's chair, Handyman was very explicit. We all buckle in, no matter how experienced.
Durro looks at the safety restraints that he would have applied out of habit when he pulled the seat up. I am strapped in. What about you?
Just making sure. Checking her.
Well, that's good. And the rest of the pre-flight checks?
We're already done before you board. Ship's engines are all primed and ready for deployment.
Excellent. Then take off, and he will give her the heading out of character. I'm not going to make up something, but
Yeah.
he's following the vision he had, and he's directing her to follow that path.
I do have a suggestion.
Okay.
Uppermost part of the tail section that we have to assemble the settle in the hangar. It's just sensors and infrastructure. Much of it can be relocated. You can make transition settle on an efficient to cut it down.
That's not a bad idea. I'll have to ask Handyman about it.
He's already aware it was his idea. I'm just mimicking.
I see. Well, that is something I'll have to ask him to begin when we get back. That would make things a lot easier.
The shuttle continues to travel. It takes about 30. No, I'm sorry. It takes about 4 or 5 hours to reach the place expecting in the shuttle. Granted, the shuttle wasn't moving at its maximum speed. Sure, he's doing a nice leisurely cruising speed.
Which is fine, and Duro will take the time to make sure that she is doing everything correctly. If he sees a problem, gently correcting it, reinforcing the things she's doing right, you know, making sure she's learning how to fly.
I mean, she it's obvious she's learning. She's made a lot of mistakes. So yeah, I mean, probably one of the reasons it took so long, but it is a long journey.
And he knows he's patient.
Yeah. And the shuttle was set down right outside the oasis. Very first thing Duro noticed is shadows that just beyond the watch me to
That's probably the wisest idea. Keep an eye on the ship's security systems. Make sure nobody comes aboard unless I've given permission.
yes, Master Teth.
And he will lower the navigator's seat and extract himself. And out of character, I think it's a good place to leave the scene for a hot second because I gotta go run a quick errand.
Okay. Tesara.
Yes.
Actually, let me pause with you. Um Nova, are you up for a scene tonight? hear anything.
You go ask.
What?
Let me go ask. She might be
I'm
muted.
in the middle of a game right now. So I'm very distracted.
Okay. So Tesara, you are sitting in Jaren's hut. It is well after the festivity. Things in the village have started to calm down, and Deal and Jaren are there with you.
Okay.
What's the matter? Says Jaren.
Is he talking to Tesara, obviously?
Yep. Because he's speaking basic. She's learned that when he talks in Azil, he speaks her language. But when he speaks to Tesara, he speaks basic.
Okay. Nothing is the matter.
Is that true? That's the narrator asking.
No, it's about absolutely a lie.
Okay.
12 plus whatever bonuses I get for being on Origin. Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I'm just trying to figure out how. I think it's going. Oh,
I would like to think so. I asked a lot of them.
did. I will say in the conversation afterwards, Ronnie, child, that you have.
Well, I'm not. Sorry, I didn't realize I didn't. Sorry, my push to talk is being a jerk. I am not naive enough to think that my actions and words won't have repercussions, your mother included.
Mother is curious, distracted. As we speak, taken her to southernmost branch.
She looks
That
surprised.
not a ship. Take weeks to get there. Traveled in cattle.
So, how long will they be gone?
I don't know, but the ruins are pretty extensive.
She kind of looks confused. I'm surprised to hear that he and your mother left, especially at such a tense time with the Nirani's visit. She escaped the village. Well, escaped is the wrong word. Forgive me. She willingly left the village knowing that they may call on her.
The Nirani, I mean, butcher murderers.
She
Having
doesn't answer. She just waits for him.
having Durro side with them, they have elected and negotiated that because God's wrath could level and higher regions of this world, as seen by the last time they invaded. The Nirani and Naval have agreed that they will not call upon their favoring gods, which means my mother is free to frolic and chase her heart with Tesser.
She makes a face. How lovely for her.
Indeed, my suggestion.
She snorts. And she took your suggestion?
Well, I suggested it to the professor. He asked her.
Ah, so you dangled knowledge in front of him.
There are some very interesting ruins, cliffs.
Ah, well, that would have gotten his attention immediately.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
I've heard a name mentioned. I don't know what it means. Laura.
She takes a lock of her own hair and twists it around her fingers and she's looking thoughtful.
That's what I thought. Professor had a similar reaction. Mentioned translation, uttered the name to him. Once I did, his passing interest was excessive. He practically insisted my mother show him.
So, have you heard us speak about the swarm?
I have.
Do you understand what it is?
Not the slightest. But it is apparently important to you and your friends.
It's very important to me and my friends. Jaren, imagine for a moment a force that could destroy anything and everything it touches and devour it. Destroy and devour everything. Everything. And then imagine that the brain of that thing that can devour and destroy everything in the galaxy has a name.
What you speak of sounds like the dark side. I've seen my aunt succumb to it.
Yes, that's true. It sounds like the dark side because it is in line with it, but it's not the same thing. The dark side can be made manifest within, whilst the swarm and Melora are physical manifestations of unending hunger.
Nazil walks into this part of the hut and speaks to Jaren. Hear it. They're speaking their native language. What she's saying. Time. Jaren cried. Tells back in their native language. Tell them must normally. And she kind of looks reluctant and then nods, and then he turns back to you. I apologize. You were saying about Malort.
Out of character question, polling the party. Does anybody remember whether or not Jaren knows that Tesara can understand Nazil? She may not be able to speak that language, but trying to remember if he knows she can understand it.
He indicated, remember when she looked at people who were speaking, he said clever. Whether that means he knows what she's doing or not.
Okay, thanks. She looks over at Jaren. What is it that they want to do?
What do you
Nazil,
playing innocent? See right through it.
Nazil just came to you and said that the warriors want to act now. You said they have to wait. What are they wanting to act upon?
Give me a sense.
14 plus whatever bonuses she gets for being on Origin. I never remember what they are.
And Davis.
He looks genuinely well. They want Ronnie.
So to hell with all of the negotiations and bartering and gambling. Just kill them all.
Don't agree with it. They don't. I've told you, the younger warriors, world elders.
So these are the elder warriors that want to attack and kill the Nirani.
No, younger one.
And you want them to wait for what?
Appropriate. Right. Attack now. Maybe forcing the elders.
Explain more, please.
To explain what they would be doing wrong. But our members, they would, elders would be forced to protect them, no matter how wrong they were. Of course, some would punish. I don't believe Ani would, nor would they care. Ani would attack in force. Bao would face dealing with war that's in, seeking ally.
So what is it that you're trying to wait for?
The tradition or the proper is appropriate for
When the negotiations are over. Well, what happens if that doesn't take but another couple of days? You said earlier it could take a while.
their end. And if they're successful, still the poor innocent child, especially without guidance. Mother,
She sighs.
women that have come with them, they would be chaos unleashed. Expecting terrible.
So they listened to Nazil?
Still speaks Half of the God that loves her. Of course they'll listen.
What are the chances of one or more breaking off to do as they please instead of listening? So none.
Have no choice.
And what of the elder warriors? Do they understand that this is what the younger are itching to do?
There has been quiet ever since war, ever till return. Fantastic story of horizontal gods.
She's thinking. So we sit here and we wait for them to come to an agreement. Then now the Nirani and the Valfolk.
It's not like we
How
can
will
get not like we can get involved. The first round of negotiations are over. Gods have been requested. Take even I can't fight beyond side deal. A violation of agreement.
and your mother is gone? Do they know that she has left?
Levi
And Durro is not here. Did the Nirani understand that he have left?
when they questioned explained it.
She raises an eyebrow at him.
Dare not not taint their image. Merely inform them. Gods tend to all manner of things, Phaetons. Their eyes, because of their prayers.
She's just looking at him.
What would you want me to
No, you misunderstand.
ask you? Don't misunderstand. I know what's thinking. I'm asking you, what would you want to do?
Oh, you know what I'm thinking. Please tell me.
Say I know what you're thinking.
You just said you knew what I was thinking. So what was I thinking?
Proposes.
She's not going to say anything. She's just waiting for him.
Gonna sit.
Well, it appears you cannot read my mind after all. What I was thinking was that you have learned at your mother's knee to be a master manipulator.
I'll take that as
She's just watching him.
Just sitting there.
Finally, after, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes of silence, she says, "So, when will we hear? Will there be a great celebration that's audible that they have made their decisions and have come to agreements?"
Just sometime in the morning.
Out of character, what time is it right now?
Well, the village is set up for night, for not for night, but for sleep. But it's still a sun in the air or in the sky. There is no night here.
I know that, but can Tesara guess that it's 9 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight? What?
It's a little. You're tired, so it's probably around 9, 10.
She pulls her comlink up and tries to message anyone on the Gungnir.
You do not. You're running through your contacts. There's no answer from. There's no answer from Hadassah. No answer from. I'm sorry, Astra. There's no answer from Candyman, but you do manage to reach Durro. And Durro, when you get this call, it'll be as you guys are currently flying out towards the
He might not be available right now.
uh say no, you did.
Tesara does not leave any voice messages. She sends a message to Durro asking for him to give her an update. Oh, he also says give him 2 minutes. That's on the text chat by the fire, so. All right. Well, I'd like to take those few minutes to poll the party. What do you guys think?
For the most part, I think it sounds like you've said your piece. I mean, are you going to really try and stop the war?
No, but I'm trying to figure out more specifically what people think he is about. And actually, should I fall asleep and stay there until morning? Or should I make an attempt to head back to the Gungnir?
For God's sake, don't head back to the Gungnir. Have you questioned him about his change of what's in it for him? I mean, the personal stake in this. He's talking about the people, the people, the people. Like this, there's something in this rings personal for him. And what's his personal connection to what's going on? Because he's too passionate about it. And people with that level of, if he's willing to go against his mom, there's something there that means more to him than his mother's respect. Just my 2 cents.
That's a good point.
Alright, I am back, and since I was walking from vehicle to building, I missed a good chunk of the last thing that happened. I just heard my name, that's all.
Tesara has messaged Durro on his comlink to give her a report about what might be going on.
Well, okay. I mean, obviously the character's not there, so his confusion will mirror my confusion. So, you have him pick up the call, and he would just say, "Tasara, is something wrong?"
No, everything's fine. What about you? What's going on at the Gungnir?
Well, out of character, she would hear the whine of an engine because, as I did hear Traveler say, he is mid-flight.
Are you on your way here?
No, no, I had Handyman reassemble my shuttle.
But you're not coming here with it.
No, no, He'll take a deep breath. A couple days ago, I received a vision right after the storm. Uh, a woman standing by a lake at an oasis, and a strong sense that I should go and meet her. Um, I believe it has something to do with the avian that I made contact with in the storm. I had Handyman sedate Astra and Hodge, and I'm taking them with me to see if I can help or get this creature's help to do something about their programming. Whatever the Crusade did to them, I feel like this creature may be able to help me undo it.
This
So,
is the same creature that Cheery was afraid of.
out of character, did she know about that?
I thought you had told us, but I might be wrong. My memory is shit.
I know there was an in-between that detailed it, but Durro didn't say anything about Cheery, just that he had contacted it.
Okay, well, I don't mind. I'll just back up what I've said. Okay, so erase what I just said. You sedated them? How did that go?
Oh, I'm sure they're going to be quite angry at me when they wake up, but as Master Duras had warned me, the programming knows whatever they know. If I tip them off that what I'm trying to do, then the programming will also know and defend itself, which puts all of us at risk. I had to get them to where I could help them without them knowing what I was doing. So I told them as little as I could get away with.
I understand your choices, but if I were them, I would be angry as well. Let's just hope that this goes right, Durro.
Well, if I were in their position, I'd be furious. But it is a risk, a calculated risk that I have decided to take.
I surely hope that this being, or whoever they are, can help you.
I'm positive they can. Whether they will or not is another question.
Agreed.
Was there something you needed?
No, I'm still here waiting for the finishing of the negotiations between the Narani and the Valfolk. And it is late. I'm going to sleep. I just wanted to check in with you to see if everything was all right before I drifted off to sleep.
No, everything's fine on my end. Everything's going according to plan. Am I needed in the village? You don't normally call just to check in.
Right, but Durro, when you left, you indicated that you might find that you had to do something with both of them that might result in their death or yours. Forgive me if I'm a little concerned.
All right, fair enough. Yes. Had I tried to do this myself, it very well could have ended in disaster, which is why, upon further thinking and meditating on it, I decided to go the route that I have.
Well, I trust you to follow that route to its conclusion. And good luck.
Well, you know how I feel about luck. The Force will be with both of us in the endeavors that we are on.
Which is indeed luck. Good night, Durro.
Good night, Dishonored.
And she hangs up.
Okay. What are we doing?
Well, I suppose that depends. It's 9 o'clock. Do you want to go with Durro or do you want to go with Tesara? She was just going to go to sleep.
I can go with either or. It's up to you.
I'm back, so I do not care either way.
I would prefer if we went with Durro because I would rather that we do that if it's okay with you guys.
I mean, that's fine with me. I'm sure Haj and Astra want control of their characters back.
Never.
Yeah, they signed their souls over to Handyman. It's far too late for them.
I will dismantle the droid in order to get it back. Do what you gotta, man.
All right. Girl, you're up, buddy.
All right, so entering the Oasis.
Yep.
Just reaching out with the Force to feel what this place is like, if it's any different from the rest of the planet.
It actually is. Durro can sense the life here. Trees, everything. Animals, creatures that are, watching you.
So, not like the people of the villages.
No.
No, that's a refreshing change of pace. I take it he finds the lake easily enough.
Well, moving through the oasis, the creatures start moving with him. There's a dozen, maybe even more. You get a glimpse every once in a while. They look feline-ish. You can definitely tell a tail, but they walk and move upright with, human-like hands. So appear to be kind of technological. Parts of them glow with, energy.
Do any of these creatures try to speak with him? Or can he, like, look? If he looks, do they disappear because they were at, like, the corner of his vision? Or can he just turn and, like, look at him?
You can turn and look at them. They are wearing some type of mask to cover their faces, hoods over top of it, but you can definitely see the cat-like ears, long, thin tail as they move about the ground and the trees. They can move like monkeys, jumping from tree to tree. They can walk upright like humans. They make no attempt to stop you. Definitely notice that they all melee style weapons. Pretty sure that appearance.
And if he calls out a hello there to the closest one?
They mimic you. Voice, tone, pitch, words. And it spreads to all of them.
Oh, jeez. Uh, he'd give a little grin, but then just continue moving toward the oasis. Or toward the lake. He's in the oasis.
And you continue to move. And as you finally reach the place that you were planning to go, I had it. Internet is really. She stands there, watching you leave the confines of the trees and walk into the glade where the lake is, and can see that her she wears long flowing uh orange robes, matches her eyes, hair, perfect skin. Would think that as old as I your time.
My apologies. I had other things that were pressing around me. I am here, though.
I don't know if I should be insulted by that, but I want only one question answered.
And that is,
Tell me, Durro Thaltanis, how did you reach out and call me?
he'll look slightly confused. I used the Force.
Billions upon billions of creatures, great and small, use the Force. Never before has called.
Curious. I heard your cry in the storm, and one of the children in my care heard it as well, but ascribed your voice to me, calling for help. It's fascinated me, and I wanted to know more. So I reached out while the storm still raged.
And I invited you to my home.
And a lovely home it is. He'll be glancing around as he says that.
So you did not call to me during the storm.
Well, I did call to you when you appeared before me aboard my ship, but while I was out in the storm,
I am
I heard.
timeless, not naive of time.
I'm not sure I understand.
I know when you reached out and I summoned you home, then you procrastinate time to arrive. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when your mere mortal life, that of mate, were in peril.
Ah, uh, I am not aware of calling out to you, unless one of your many names is Allfather.
Rolls her eyes.
I take it is not.
You are correct.
I didn't think so. You don't strike me as an all-father.
Their religion died with their culture. All that remains of who and what they are infest my world. Many times I've thought about cleansing it of their existence, but they're no different than the ants that run around. See no reason to bother with their existence.
I see. So, the gods and spirits that they worship and attribute to their feats of manipulating elements, they're not real.
You follow the force. Is it real? You.
Well, yes, it is real to me, and it is has a measurable impact on the universe around me. It's an energy field that binds all living things.
To them, trust me when I say this, they're very real, measured. Solid around them. You yourself experienced it through their spiritual gateway.
The judges.
Quaint name that they come up with, don't you think? But you mortals have always fascinated me. Not me personally, my brothers and sisters.
Well, one of us mere mortals fascinated you enough.
Only because you summoned me.
Yes, and I'm still not sure how.
Needless to say, I saved you.
A fact I am very grateful for.
Well, you've answered my question. I have no further.
If I may ask another favor of you while I am here,
A favor.
if you are so inclined.
She has this, like, rather unamused look on her face. But she stands, waits.
I have a bit of a puzzle. There is something I must do, but I must master a skill that will take years, I am told. But there is a, for lack of a better term, ticking clock to it, and I don't have years. I was wondering if assistance could be found here. It was a long shot. There was nothing in your invitation that indicated such, but I thought I can ask. The worst you can do is say no.
What do you know of my kind?
Only what you have shown me.
My brothers and sisters were dwell and tangle with those who came along after. My sister, dear Helen, sold her very soul in service of mortals, sacrificed herself. Tragedy. All of my sisters, similar fates, when they dabbled, wasn't completely fascinating. At one point in time, after mother and father attempted to gather many of wonders, fortunately, like a star, gravity, the raw power explosion shout shine brightly. Mortals can't no more than often one will typically it's explosive, chaotic. Rare occasion, calm. My children left me. I didn't weep as a failed endeavor. And I finished dealing, realized it's far better to live beneath, doing what mortals do, killing each other, striving, favor. I've yet to meet a mortal surprise.
Well, it is a very apt description of our kind. And it is part of such a struggle that some people I care about were used like pawns, programmed, for lack of a better term, by another group. And all I want is to undo what was done to them, to ensure that they are not pawns of those who would use them only to gain more power.
I am not without sympathy, despite what the Celestials accused me. Still, what would you offer me? Render. What would you offer me?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know much about your kind. What would you even want from a mere...
This is an interesting question. But there's one who holds a much deeper meaning. This is about her.
Her... What was done... What was done to her, I believe, is more severe than what was done to the other. But yes, I do care about her a great deal.
So what is her life worth? Her salvation, I should say.
Well, anything. Anything I am capable of giving.
Mortals are so. There is nothing you possess that I can. There's nothing you can stop it. Therefore, you have nothing, regardless of whether. What? And give. Say anything. Sure.
Again, I don't know much about your kind. I don't know what to expect that you would ask.
Well, long before there was a galaxy, my mother and father created us. We are the true children of creation itself. I walked first among others, alone with mother and father, side by side with. Then came all the others, and wow, Etty fought for my claim. Everyone knew the truth. I have seen the rise and fall of entire civilizations, the galaxy destroyed and reborn. For me, something seen. Do that.
I'm inclined to say that no, I cannot. I'm but a mortal, and as you have more than once referred to my kind, what could I possibly show you that you have not already seen, or describe that you have not already experienced firsthand?
Or wise for a mortal. Most offer me wealth beyond my wildest power. They believe they can bestow upon me secrets of ancient civilizations that yet explored. Some even the freedom of death itself.
I'm sure that goes over well.
Who do you think death and her minions work for?
Well, that's a good point.
There's a reason why I was able to take you from the decks of the ship.
Yes, that was something else you had shown me, which indicates that you have some purpose for my friends and I. There was a reason you took interest in us. Special interest.
You,
From that first moment escaping Alderaan to, well, now.
you, Durro thought took interest in you.
Everyone else was just along for the ride.
They're part of your destiny. Ah, but you don't believe in destiny. You believe in free will.
Yes, that is correct.
Of course.
I don't believe anyone's journey is set, but you would know better than I in that respect.
I will tell you this, that it is possible to have destiny and free will at the same time. You are free to choose to follow your destiny or to turn and walk away from it.
And what is that destiny that it gained the attention of a being so above everything, who's seen it all, done it all, regards mortals as mere insects? What is so special about my destiny that I have gained your attention?
She'll step forward and walk as she walks towards you. I am neither god nor devil, though can be both, depending on culture, how they've offended me.
I can understand that.
There was a time in my life where I was more like my sister, less like my brothers. I tend to believe now I'm more like my father than anybody else.
Your father, did he refuse to interfere?
My father was when you sit alone on a warm day The breeze blowing, the clouds drifting across the sky. You reach deep into your heart and find that peace, that calm. This is the echo of my father. This is where I find him long after he and mother left this reality.
I see.
As for your destiny, she taps you on the nose. That would be telling. And if I tell you, then you'd believe that I'm interfering with your free will.
Well, like you said, I can choose whether or not to follow it.
Still, I won't tell you. But what is this female?
I can't really put it into words. It's not something that can be quantified.
Is she worth your destiny?
What, to help her, I would have to give up what I meant to do?
Interesting offer, would you not agree? Is she worth everything that the fates have laid out for you? The very wills themselves?
At that, he looks thoughtful. It's clearly the wheels are turning, thoughts moving rapidly.
She's going to start to slowly pace around him.
Oh, that is a very, very interesting question. Something I have thought a lot about and struggled with recently, as you may or may not be aware.
I don't pay attention to the ants. Only when they do something that surprises me does it draw my attention. Such as calling me Storm. Mind you, still fascinated.
As am I, considering that I am unaware that it happened at all.
So, is this creature worth your very destiny? All that goes with it. And she moves behind you and whispers in your ear. All that goes with it.
Well, to answer the question you asked, and not extrapolate from it, yes, she is worth it. The question I struggle with is, should she be?
Ah, and there it is. You give up fame, glory for the woman you love.
It's not even fame and glory. I'm not in this to make a name for myself or to be recognized through the eons and story and song.
But you will
No,
be.
perhaps. But that's not why I do what I do. I do what I do because it is the right thing.
Who says?
Because, well, those who taught me, those who trained me, those who taught me to tap into the Force and to use it as a Jedi.
Yet, You struggle with being one of them.
I struggle to live up to the ideals. I don't think I've ever met a Jedi that truly embodies what it means to be one, according to their teachings. All have fallen short of the ideal in one way or another.
That's because you cannot embrace all that what Father is. You're mortals.
The way I was taught, what my life experience has led me to, is that what it is to be a Jedi is to live a life of selfless service. We give up that which we are attached to for the greater good. We use the powers we have been given to maintain balance, even though it means we sacrifice a lot on the journey. Is this woman worth giving up that path, that life? Yes, I feel she is. But all of my teaching, all of my training would tell me that that's the wrong choice, that I should let go of that attachment and serve the greater good.
Would you die for her? And she holds her hand out, and your lightsaber slowly drifts to it. She presents it back to you.
There is no lightsaber. He last left it in his cabin.
Oh, I apologize. Excuse me. So she'll hold her hand out, and it will materialize. Would you die for her?
Yes, I would.
Should you die for her? She says, and the lightsaber's still floating between you two.
Out of character, did she just repeat the question again?
No, she asked it in a different form. Should you die for her?
I believe yes, especially depending on the circumstance. If laying down my life meant that she were safe, it would be an act of selfless service, the ultimate act of selfless service, to give my life in the protect to give my life out of character. Sorry, my thing keeps dropping. It would be the ultimate act of selfless service to give my life in the defense of another.
But not your destiny.
He'll give a slight smile and say, based on what you've said, no, not my destiny.
What's the difference between your life and your destiny? Why is one so easier to dispense of and not the other? I know the answer. Do you?
If I had to guess, I would assume my destiny is a continuation of the road I am on now, a life of service to the greater good, the protection of those who cannot protect themselves, even if it does ultimately cost my life. To give that up for the selfish desire to be with the one I care about, then that is not selfless, that is selfish. To give up a destiny of service, of protecting others, that is different than laying down my life to protect those who cannot otherwise defend themselves.
She cannot possibly defend herself from what is going on with her now. You have a choice. You could kill yourself right now, and I will promise you that in your passing, I will save her. You can give up your destiny, and I will offer the same promise. Hypothetically, please don't kill yourself. Why is one so much more egregious than the other? The answer is very simple. If you die, you do not have to bear witness to the consequences of your choice. Well, if you give up your destiny, you're under the false impression that you can no longer serve. You can no longer be a selfless person helping others. No, giving up one means giving up what makes you feel special. And the other just removes you from the equation altogether. You're no selfless, no more than any other mortal. You just pretend to be different. You're still holding on to something at the expense of somebody else. How is that selfless?
What am I holding on to at the expense of someone else?
Your destiny.
I've already stated I'm willing to give that up. The question is, should I? But you asked if she is worth it, and I said yes.
I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't trifle with mortal affairs anymore, but it intrigues me. I'll make you a deal. I'll take your offer of your destiny and all that goes with it. In exchange, I'll save her. I will remake her so that she is not connected to the one you call Melora. She is not part of that anymore. I'll accept this on one condition.
And that is?
You find my answer. And fear not. You do not have to come here to answer it.
Then how would I answer it?
Do you think that I am only bound to this world?
No, of course not. You've shown that you are capable of being anywhere and everywhere.
So,
No, my question was how would I contact you? I'm not even aware how I did it the first time.
neither am I. I'd like to know.
So is that the answer you want me to seek? Or the answer to the question about giving up life and destiny?
Well, we've already discussed this one. You've chosen to give up all that you are in exchange for me to save your friend.
And what of the other?
We made no arrangements for her. Your destiny isn't worth that much.
Oh, I see. And there's
I
nothing else I could offer you for you to save both.
Truthfully, there's nothing you could offer me to save the one. I'm curious to see how one of my distant children will fare without all that makes him special. And all this for the woman that he loves.
You're curious because you have never been mortal. You've never lived such a limited existence.
You are correct there. I have never lived the life of a few of my brothers and sisters ever pursued that. And those that did died weak, old.
Yes, I'm sure they did. That is part of what it is to be mortal.
I don't fault you for it. She'll wave her hand, and an energy ball will appear in front of her. Now, I'm going to take a step out of character to make sure you, the player, understands what you're agreeing to. You will, in doing this, will, in essence, give up everything that makes Durro unique. Which means,
And what exactly does that mean?
yeah, which means he'll be giving up his force sensitivity.
Right. That was kind of what I was expecting.
Now, we'll go over the details of it as we, after this, so you understand where everything stands. But Durro would be essentially giving up everything ahead of him.
All right, was that all?
I want to make sure the player understands. If you want to pull the party, you're welcome to do that. This is a big deal, a big character moment for Durro Thelthanis.
Well, I am interested in hearing what others think.
Then I will mute myself so you guys can talk.
There's so many people.
Well, I typed "don't do it," and then he's like, "I'm with myself."
I don't think you should do it, because there's still a chance of him saving Hadassah without her help.
My question is, you as the player now understand what she is saying. Does Durro understand what she's saying?
Well, nothing Traveler said was a surprise to me, so I'm sure Durro understands the implications.
Okay, so that's one thing. So, what do you think that Haj would say?
She would probably be mortified that he gave up so much for her.
You know her well. Do you know that also, not only would he be giving this up for her, but any role he has to play in fighting Melora goes away, which means anything that he might have done to win that war also goes away.
Yes. Yes, that thought crossed my mind as well.
Right.
Well, then I'll lay the next level on you, out of character. I thought you were going to talk to her about the crusade programming. She mentioned Melora, and if you break that connection between Hodge and Melora, you lose a weapon against Melora. Is that really worth it in the long run, in addition to him giving up any ability to try and stop her?
Well, that is playing with fire because you are just as useful, or Haj is just as useful to Melora as she is to the party in fighting Melora.
That's true. And at the same time, I find it interesting that there was no reaction from Durro whatsoever when she said Melora and not the Crusade. Because to my understanding, Durro went to her wanting her help in removing the Crusade programming from Astra and Hadassah. But she's not
Yeah,
talking about Astra at all, and she just mentioned Melora, and he didn't bat an eyelash. So
well,
I'm
he did. I haven't got. It's like, he he did catch that, and I did catch that. Um, I hadn't finished. I mean, he hasn't actually agreed to anything yet. Traveler gave me the opportunity to pull the party, so I was just curious to see what other people thought. But no, he did notice that, and he obviously noticed the exclusion of Astra. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
really need to emphasize this is a one-way road. Once done, cannot be undone.
okay. So I have a suggestion. Take it as you will. It's just a suggestion. But what you've asked her is for her to help remove this or get rid of it or disconnect it or whatever. Instead of taking up her offer, could he counter offer with something?
you got cut off.
Sorry. Could he ask for the knowledge of how to do this from her instead of asking her to do it? Ask for her the knowledge on how to, which will help both Astra and Hodge and may not require such a huge sacrifice because apparently girlfriend is super confused about how she was called out to, which is a mystery to Durro as well, which is a tantalizing thing. It's something that she wants. She wants to figure this out. So, can he instead say, I will find out how if you help me with the knowledge of how to do this myself?
That thought had crossed my mind as well. I also had something in mind to offer her, but she offered this path first, and I was like, I wonder what she has in mind. So he was going along with it just to
Yeah.
see where she was taking this offer. The biggest hangup for me is she wanted to know, you know, what was, what was worth it. If having this done was worth, Durro said he was willing to do anything, and if he really meant that, and if he starts backpedaling and trying to renegotiate, it certainly looks like it that he is unwilling to give up what makes him him, as she put it. Whether or not that's true is completely different, but again,
The question, I guess, is it his connection to the Force that really makes him him? Is it I mean, I know you'd be losing all of the destiny and your ability to fight and this, that, and the other thing and taking away your Force sensitivity. But is it really that connection that makes him him, or is it everything else around him? He would still be a Jedi, he'd still be able to wield the lightsaber, so he'd have to pick that back up again. But all his teachings, everything he's learned, isn't that a bigger part?
He wouldn't be a Jedi anymore. He may still be able to wield the lightsaber after this, but he would not still be a Jedi. He has to be Force sensitive to be a Jedi.
And then we're back to that question again, is Master Theltanus really a Jedi at heart? He knows he is. He's claimed it, he owns it, it's his by right. Not what other people says he is, not what the training says he is. So then he's still a Jedi.
And he would be also giving up the ability to teach, which is something that has sparked a fire in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bigger question.
I mean, he could still teach, he just can't demonstrate or help students with what he's teaching. But he still knows what he knows, he can still teach it.
And having a TA in the classroom to do that, the mechanical side of it. See a lot of that in schools. Next question you have to ask yourselves: if he says, yes, I'm willing to give it up. And Traveler, you said you're going to stay silent on this one, but it's something to contemplate. Would she really take it? Is his offer to say, yes, I will give it up, enough, especially after the comment she made that absolutely fascinated me that nobody has brought to the table?
What comment?
What was it, Traveler? One of my descendants?
Oh, yeah. That's probably how he was able to. Oh.
So she may take his connection to the Force, but leave him with something completely different that paves the way to have whatever is the diluted piece of her bloodline come flying through when he needs it the most.
Yeah, I just thought she was referring to the fact that she brought together a group of mortals, presumably Force sensitives, and tried to teach them to harness what was left of her father, the essence of her father. And she had said that that failed. It sounded to me like that group of people and their descendants became what we know as the Jedi and the Sith.
That's a possibility.
So,
To me,
Durro
that
was
is the higher possibility. In reality, as old as she is, pretty much everything could be at some point related to her. But if her father is the one that is the origin of the Force, like she's making it sort of sound like, then every Force user is her descendant. Does that make sense?
Does.
but especially those of the Jedi and Sith traditions, if those traditions grew from the group of mortals that she pulled together and tried to teach.
Fair enough. Still begs the question. Especially since he is anomalous among Jedi in trying to pave a new order, which may be able to harken back to her original teachings. And there's another possible piece of that puzzle. He's stepping outside of the order to form his own way. If he gives up his destiny, it's possible that whatever she may be able to bring to the table in that new order of his, in that new way of teaching, would be lost. Is she willing to sacrifice that?
I get the impression she does not care much about those kind of things. She is so ancient and detached from the air quotes affairs of mortals that what does or does not happen in the life of one really has no consequence to her.
And yet, she's intrigued. You've got her attention.
That
She's
is true.
curious. She's curious about you. If you give up your destiny, and you're giving up something that she's curious about, possibly for the first time in eons.
Can I just point out that the GM has given a warning that if Durro says yes, this can't be undone? So that right there makes it pretty clear that she's willing to do it. And that she probably is going to.
Yes, well, the GM has stretched the truth before.
These creatures lie. They all have agendas. This is a test. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, the thought has crossed my mind, especially because I game master my own games as well, that it's fully possible that Durro could commit, sign on the dotted line, and either as he does or right before it he does, she's like, "Oh no, this was just to see if you would. I can't let you do that."
Okay,
You
so let me interject here because that would be dishonest in these really important conversations. Normally, you're right. Normally, I do play fast and loose with the truth, with perceptions, with descriptions, just to trip you guys up at the 1 yard line and laugh as you roll around with your busted knee. This is not that situation. Let me tell you, so there's no room for debate. Durro agrees this happens. There is no trickery here. I do not want Durro to believe that this might be, oh, it's just a test, and then go into it thinking it's just a test, not realizing she's going to do this. I don't want the player, any player, to misunderstand this. This is a really big thing. Please don't mistake that.
Okay, see, in and out of character, he took what she said at face value. He believes that she will do it. I, out of character as the player, was saying that possibility crossed my mind. Not that I thought that was what was likely to happen.
Please don't.
I have a question for Duro.
Okay.
Astra and Hodge, what are they to Duro?
What do you mean?
Well, the fact that she's excluding one of them.
I think it's because she is pegged that Hodge is special to him in a way that Astra is not. Not that Astra is not important to him, but that there's something extra to his relationship with Hodge. That's what she's honed in on.
True. But I'm trying to give you an out. Because you said that your issue was if Duro doesn't agree to it, it looks like he's unwilling.
Right.
If Astra and Hodge both have value to Duro, doesn't have to be the same value. Or, the same type of value. Duro can backpedal and go, well, hold on. You're only bargaining for one of them, but I care about both of them. So this deal isn't worth it.
Again, I did have ideas of where I was gonna go with this. I was just curious to see what everyone else thought. So I wasn't polling the party because I was stuck. I was polling the party just on the off chance that there was something I hadn't considered. But I did have ideas to go forward.
Be ready to resume.
Yes.
Okay. There is a glowing orb that has now taken the place of your vanished lightsaber.
Does she do anything with the orb or give any
No,
instructions for the orb?
it's literally sitting there for you. So, one destiny, one life. And you can watch that life prosper and grow.
I feel like there is a level of misunderstanding here. The help I asked for was in defeating the programming done by another group of mortals, not whatever issue lies between her and Melora.
You're right. There is a level of misunderstanding. Fortunately, it's all on your side.
Oh, enlighten me then.
That would be cheating. I would be helping you, and you would be offering me nothing.
I did ask for your help, and I did ask what you would want in return. And in outlining what you want, you have also changed the conditions that I have asked for. I asked for help for both of the people I care about, for Haj and for Astra. Both have been affected by this other group of mortals.
But you are sadly one mortal with one destiny. You are currently the only mortal that fascinates me.
And would I still be fascinating if I take this offer and let you strip me of whatever birthright I have as one of your long descendants?
Descendants. My, aren't we? You
Well, that was how you referred to me. I assumed you meant the lineage of teachings, the
said
group of mortals that you called together.
I said student. Well, I did refer to all mortal children. You're right, yet again, another misunderstanding. But no, my kind would never fill yours. And she leans in from behind you and whispers in you. Doesn't clearly there is something. It's the reason why I saved you from Alderaan. It's the reason why I brought you here to this reality. The reason why I even allowed you to find me. Well, that is very curious how you summoned. But that is still part of our arrangement. You came to me for help on how to save your friend. I've offered you help on how to save one and offered you a price for that one. Bring me my answer after our. I'll consider saving the other one. If her frail. What say you, Durro?
I say it will be very difficult to find the answer if I am no longer able to touch the Force. I assume that is the price that you are exacting from me.
It is what makes you special. It is linked to your destiny. It is all that you covet and hold. It's every who you are. Yet, she holds up a finger in front of you. There is a of this. Forsake will. And you still, Durro Thelta, without that what fate has given you.
While being a Jedi, being able to touch the Force, to meditate, to hear its whispers, is a core part of who I am. I don't believe losing that would make me not Duro Theltanus anymore. Who I am is not inexorably linked to being able to touch the Force.
Are you so sure?
No, I'm not sure. I could be I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I've never known an existence where I cannot hear the whispers of the Force.
Touch the orb with both hands. Experience a reality out of my word. It's the first. Or mate will live free from any entanglement.
He will look at the orb, then look back at her. What about a counteroffer?
About it.
Yes, I do care a great deal about the one you are offering to save, but I also care about the other one that you have thus far ignored.
I have not. Be careful. I am easily offended. I did say, once this business is concluded, bring me my answer, and I will consider saving.
Yes, after I've delivered something you want, you will consider saving her.
And what more would you expect? It's not quite the same value as destiny.
What if you aren't doing all the work? What if instead of saving either of them, you grant me the tools I will need to do it myself?
The only way you will save your mate is by running her through your very fancy, flashy sword. That is the
Really,
only
that's the
way to
only.
save her.
And what of what Master Duras told me? How she helped her sister.
You still misunderstand what you're dealing with. That's adorable. But the conversation bores me. My interest wanes. She starts to walk around you one last time and then slowly starts to, as she circles around, starts to walk away. Time is fleeting, Durro Thaltanis. So is the offer on the table. You've had plenty of time to discuss it. You've had plenty of time to think about it. And she'll stop, look over her shoulder. Is the one you love, is your mate worth your destiny?
Yes, she is. But she is also not the only one that I am responsible for. She is not the only one I came to you asking for help with. While I meant what I said, I'm willing to give up my destiny for you to help her. I did not come here asking for help for her alone. I was curious to see what you would ask for, but I do have a counteroffer.
I'm all ears.
You yourself admitted that you had never lived as a mortal, experienced such a limited existence. You showed that you can link your mind with mine. It is how we communicated during the storm, when I called you from aboard my ship. What if I allowed you to enter my mind fully, unbidden, nothing hidden, let you experience a mortal existence as best you can without becoming mortal yourself?
What makes you think I haven't already done that?
You may have already. It's a gamble I took, but it didn't sound like it's something you've already done.
Well, you are correct, I haven't. Nor am I. Mortals do not interest. Not like my brothers and sisters. They were always quite fascinating. Baratus alone was extremely fascinated. I used to love how he would toy and play amongst them. He was the first of us to take on such forms. Ah, what a beautiful man in human flesh. Long white hair, pure like the snow. He was closest to father, but drifted away during the wars, the endless wars that his beloved humans drug him to. The things he loved the most turned on him. It broke his heart. He became enraged like I've never seen, fully embracing mother. I thought he was going to destroy all of creation. But no, living life like you. Sorry, I have no value. One destiny, one life. That is what is on the table. That is what remains on the table. Bring me my answer, and I'll change the consideration. Bring me my answer, and I'll save your other. Assuming the answer filling, you present me with a dishonest act, I will take both from you. It's possible. Fair enough.
That is a fair enough arrangement.
Then never let it be said that I don't have a heart. Grip the orb, save your mate. Give up all that makes you special. Give up your destiny.
He looks at the orb, looks at her, looks at the orb. Again, very thoughtful, wheels obviously turning. No, no, something doesn't feel right. I came, I made my request. You offered your conditions, but something about the whole arrangement just seems off. It's a price I'm willing to pay, but I can't explain it. There's just a sense I have something wrong.
I
This isn't the way.
I know what the
Let's see
is.
if I can guess.
Go ahead then. Yes.
You believe that I am unwilling to give up my destiny, what makes me special.
Like
That I
all
cling to that even more than the life and the potential safety of my mate.
mortals. That's all you have, really. And she waves her hand and the orb vanishes.
Well, I'm glad I lived down to your expectations.
It would have surprised me had you taken the. But for as far as I've seen mortals, he trusted to do one thing and one serve their own self interest, even when it's claimed to be selfless.
Well, I still have the opportunity to prove you wrong. Because you are wrong. It is a price I am willing to pay, but not like this. Not under these conditions. This particular offer feels wrong. And even a god can be mistaken. I believe you'll see, should you continue to observe.
Oh, I will observe. Have my attention now. I
Well,
will
good.
view. And I must correct you. They are. Don't forget that.
Noted. But I will still tell you, you can be wrong. And in this case, I believe you are. And I will take no small amount of pleasure in proving that to you.
Goodbye, Durro Thatana.
Goodbye.
And on that note, the lake, the oasis, all just kind of melts. She's the last remaining image to kind of just fade away, standing in the middle of the desert. You can see the shuttle off in the distance, standing in the middle of the desert, alone. And on that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, it ran a little late.
Yeah. By the way, just to let you know, had you taken the deal, I was gonna give you half of your uh uh levels equal to half of your current levels in any non-force using class you of your desire, because that would have been the epitome of a heroic act to give up everything you are to save Hadaza's life.
I mean, honestly, I was inclined to do it, but thinking about it, not even what everyone else was saying, but just thinking about it, something felt wrong about it. Something felt off. The facts that the things Durro has learned about Melora and about how how she must be fought, something didn't add up.
Well, I mean, he also proved one other thing, that he believes more in fate than in free will.
Does he though?
If he believed absolutely in free will, then there was no destiny for him to let go of. And now he was only faced with letting go of his power, his connection to the force, which, you know, as a selfless person, he could strive to overcome. Could he ever be as powerful as he was? Probably not. But that doesn't mean he'd be helpless either. I think it was an interesting take on Durro.
I disagree that means he believes in destiny over free will, because there was more than simply destiny on the table.
There was. I will concede that. But there was also the question of, could he still be relevant without that? Could he choose to still be a hero without that?
Yes, I believe he could be, and he believed he could be. But again, everything he's learned about what's brought him this far something about her offer and what he knows about the path he is on just didn't add up. And also, nobody brought it up when polling the party, but I also remembered, and he remembered in character, that he was told by the Val folk that there are beings on this world that take many forms and are masters of deception. And so when something smelled off about this offer, he decided discretion is the better part of valor and to just not thrust himself into it.
No, absolutely fine. I got no issues with it. I think you played admirably.
I agree.
Agreed.
You're here.
Yes, but that
Although,
still leaves him right back where he started when it comes to helping Hodge and Astra.
Does it?
I mean, he can still try to do it himself, but you know,
No. Slow down. Slow down. Does it leave him right where he started?
I think so. At least in terms of undoing what's been done.
I think you might want to go back and listen to the recordings a lot more closely.
yeah, it's hard to think about the answer to that question tonight because I know you're tired and I'm tired. I do strongly recommend going back and listening to just this part of the recording another time when you're not tired and you're not like right in the middle of it, because getting distance might give you a perspective or notice something that you didn't notice before or something. And I know that you're very clever, and so is Durro. So I see a third road in here. Um, but I'm hoping that, it it'll pan out that way.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought I never once considered Duro to take it, but I was kind of like excited that he might take the offer, which is why I was like, okay, if he's gonna take this, I'm gonna give him half his levels in any non-force using class. I mean, so if he's level 8, I'd give him an additional 4 levels in any non-use force using class, just to reflect what he just did.
Right. No, it was a very tempting offer, but it like I said, something just smelled off about it.
So what did you think about your meeting?
It was very interesting. I mean, he understood the weight of the kind of being he was dealing with, and those kind of beings can be very frustrating because they are so above, not necessarily a mortal or moral sense, but just they're so ancient and so powerful compared to a mere mortal that they they fail to relate, I guess is the best way to put it. They're not necessarily right, the mortals aren't necessarily right, but there is a disconnect, a failure to communicate just because the gulf is so vast between them,
Yeah.
which can make them frustrating to deal with.
Did you enjoy the lore that she showed?
Yes. Yeah, it was very interesting.
In the
But
story of
as
her.
Tesara,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was able, just as Tesara pointed out, I am very tired right now, so it's something I'll have to go back and listen to when I'm not so tired. Anyway, what were you about to say?
I was gonna ask if you enjoyed the story she told of the taking mortals and trying to teach them of the beauty of her mother and her father.
Yeah, I figured that was what she had shown him already about Typhon and the Jedi and the groups that became the Jedi and Sith, respectively.
Yeah. Did you like how she used a star as a metaphor?
Yeah, that was also interesting. Again, something I'm gonna have to think about when I'm not so tired and so muddled.
Yes, I think we could likely discuss this all night. Unfortunately, my headache is so bad at this point. I'm literally lying in the dark. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys for a good game, but I have to retire. So I will talk to you guys later.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah, I'm gonna be jumping off too. I need to work on trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with